Hello there. In this video we are going to be looking at conducting and analysing research for when you're creating a digital media product, which you'll be doing in your coursework when you come around to doing that, but you need to make sure you're happy about it for your exam for the first unit. So in this video we're going to be looking at primary and secondary sources, how they can be used in research, how can you analyse research, and also taking into consideration what is bias. So primary and secondary sources are two different ways of getting information. It's as simple as that. So a primary piece of research is an original piece of work or a piece of research. So for example, a scientist discovering a new element would be considered a primary source because he is the person in the lab who has found this new element, has discovered this element and has done all the work on it. If someone conducts a piece of research, so for example if someone looks at the viewing usage on Netflix of different teenagers across the world, they are the ones conducting the research. They are the original people finding out what's going on. They are creating the primary source. The secondary sources are reviews or analysis of them, so textbooks or websites. If you think about going to an England game, a primary source could be someone quite happily sat inside, well hopefully quite happily, sat inside Wembley Stadium, whereas a secondary source is a match review on the BBC website. So it's taking the primary source and someone's reviewing it or analysing it or putting their own spin on it. You can use sources in loads of different ways, but first of all you need to have a problem in the first place. So for example it might be creating a graphic for a company, it might be creating a website for a company, it might be creating a TV show. So first we've got to have the problem and then understand it. Then you need to do some research, because the greatest respect to anybody listening to this video, you need to have a look to see how other people have completed a similar problem. You need to see what else has been done. If you can find out how someone's done something really well, you can then use what they've used and then take it on to another level. Just like what happened in Jurassic Park, where InGen engineers took the DNA and worked from other people and then started making dinosaurs, but that's for a different YouTube video. Once you've done the research, once you've found out how other people have completed a similar problem, you can solve the problem yourself. You can use the idea of other people, you can then take your own spin on it and put your own ideas into it and then solve the problem, at which point you reach success. When you're looking at sources, there's four things you need to really be considering. First of all, look at the source. What can you learn from it? What pieces of information can you gather, whether it's going to be from text, if it's going to be from a group of images, what can you take from that? You need to think about what the purpose of the source is, why the person created it. Also, you need to think about the creator of the source. How is that person getting their message across? How are they getting their idea across to the person reading it? Are they using certain types of language? Are they trying to be emotional with it? You've also got to think about who the target audience is. Different sources will have been written or created and used by loads of different target audiences. You need to make sure that you're taking a wide range of things. You can't be taken for bias based on reading everything from one target audience's point of view or reading information which has been created purposely for a single target audience. Talking about bias, I've taken this lovely quote here: an inclination or prejudice for or against one person or group, especially in a way to be considered unfair. Essentially what bias is you having your own opinion on something and making sure people know about it and reviewing it in that way. So for example, I support the mighty Luton Town. I can quite happily say to any stranger in the world, Luton Town is the best football team in England, if not Europe, if not the world. Unfortunately, that statement's not true, but that's my own personal opinion because I'm biased towards them. Similarly, if you think about Americans, they are very biased to saying, yep, America, best country in the world. Everyone's has their own different forms of bias. When you're looking at research, when you're looking at different sources, you've got to take bias into consideration. You need to make sure that when you're looking at something, when you're identifying a source, when you're researching the source, that the source is neutral, that it's not got any forms of bias attached to it. So in this video we've looked at what primary and secondary sources are, how they can be used in research, how you can analyse research, and also having a look at what bias is and an understanding of how it can influence things. I hope this video has been useful for you, and I'll see you in a future video. Goodbye.